So I'm recording right now. Just letting you know, I am recording right now. Okay, so like I said, this is a practice test. It's a practice reading comprehension test. So the first thing I want everybody to make sure that you're doing, so reflect on how you were doing it earlier. Take a moment to reflect, but the first thing you should have done, the first thing that you should have done, according to the videos that we were watching last week, is that you need to look at the title, okay? Uncle Wilbur. Automatically, when you're looking at Uncle Wilbur, you should have, okay, so take a moment to reflect. You should have start thinking about what is this about, okay? It should have been immediate. You should have an immediate reaction as to what is this about. So if this is about an uncle and we're thinking about the lesson from last week, let me go ahead and open the lesson from last week. If we're thinking about this, and we're looking at the point of view, the perspective, the purpose, okay? And the number one that I'm thinking of, let me go ahead and go back to this one, yeah. This one, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it so you can see it. But the number one that you should have, okay, as a practice is to make sure that you understand what is this about. If this is about Uncle, what's his name again? Uncle Wilbur, then you should start thinking using this chart, this in your mind. So, what is this? If it's about an uncle, okay, is it to entertain, to persuade, or to inform? Automatically, you should do a prediction. So, from the title, what is your logical conclusion? What is your prediction that this is about? Go ahead. Go ahead. I heard somebody. Anybody?
Entertain.
To entertain. So if this is to entertain, so this is a story, you guys. Automatically, I know some of you are thinking, but you don't know yet. Yes, you do, you guys. From the perspective of, thinking about this, you should have known. No, let me, give me 1 second, you guys. Let me find my pen. I had it a minute ago. I think it rolled down. Give me 1 second, you guys. I think it fell under my desk. How funny. I have no idea where my pen went. Oh, here it is. Right under my coffee. Right behind my coffee, you guys. Okay, so here it is. So if this is Uncle Wilbur, you guys, and this is your prediction. This is a story. This is a story. So it's going to be very crazy, you guys. So you don't need to read it, believe it. I know I made you practice earlier, but you don't really need to read it. You need to go down to the questions and the GD and the actual real GD. Okay, if this is the actual GD, let's go look at some practice GD so you guys could see how to do it with the GD. So if this is the real GD, I want you to just look at the questions first. So I'm going to go and open a practice GD. Tomorrow you're going to be taking a practice one again, but I want you to see how you do it. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to open the practice GD so you guys could see. So in the real GD, right here, the sample, okay, let me see. I'm going to open the language arts. There it is, this one. In the real GD, you guys, all I want you to do, it's the same thing. If it's a story like this one, if it's literally a story, all I want you to do is to look at the title and then you're going to, oh, it's a story. Don't start reading. Don't start reading. I repeat, do not start reading. If it's a story, don't start reading. If it's a story, uh, go look at the questions first so you know what you're looking for. If not, you're going to spend 1 hour reading a story and you don't know what you're looking for. In the beginning, you read the title, you go to the questions. The GD has the questions here, and you could move forward, you guys. Nobody's telling you to stay in one question. You could move forward. So you know how many questions you have for one test, for one question, for one, I'm sorry, for one practice. but you do not have to like read it all at once. Because how many of you, very respectfully, you don't have to answer, but how many of you read the whole thing, probably took like 40 minutes, and maybe you only had, 3 questions. So if you're able to go and look at the question, once again, you look at the title, it's a story. Maybe you look at the year, there's no year. This one doesn't have the year, so we don't know what's the year, but you go straight down to the question. What is the prefix of the word foresaw? Okay, so I'm looking for the word foresaw. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. Let me see if I could open. I'm going to open something. You're going to have a whiteboard like this. This is when I recommend that you write the word, whatever you're looking for. What was the word that we're looking for? We're looking for the word foresaw. You're looking for the word foresaw. I know I can't type, so I'll go ahead and let me see if I could do it with my tablet. But you know what? As a matter of fact, since I want you to practice for the real GD, you click on the alphabet right here. You make this box big and you say foresaw. So you're looking for the word foresaw. Which other word are we looking for? Personification. Then you put personification. And then you go to the next one. What else am I looking for? I'm looking for cell phone, something with cell phone, cellular phones, cell phone. Okay, the next one is, what are we looking for? We're looking for modern advancement. So how does compare, and we're looking for compare, something we're comparing. Now you have your shopping list. This is what you should be doing when you're doing the GED. Don't try to go one by one. One by one, you're going to slow down. You're going to lose time. And then you go back and you start reading. Some of you already start reading. And Miss Brisa, where's the word foresaw? Where is it? Third paragraph?
In the third paragraph.
Okay. Nevertheless, my Uncle Wilbur continued to predict future trends and warn us of impending tragedy. To this day, he reminds us that he foresaw the stock market crash of 1829. So he foresaw the stock market of 1829. Okay, so if he foresaw, and there's the word predict, the foresaw and the word predict. So what does this mean then? What does the word foresaw mean? So I'm going to go back, and it's a for, which are the prefix of what is the prefix in the word foresaw? Is it the for, is it the saw, is it the for, or is it the ah? What is the foresaw from predict? So which one is the basic word? For this one, they're trying to ask you which is the pre word. Which is the regular noun, you guys?
I think it's C. I don't know.
Okay. Yep, the answer is C, because the regular word is saw. And if you foresaw means you predicted. You saw it, you said it, predict. I know I can't write like that, but it will be predict. Okay, that's it, you guys. Next question. You don't even really need to read the whole story. If you did, awesome, but just letting you know, foresaw. Which phrase is an example of personification? I don't even need to read this, you guys. Personification. Does anybody remember what personification means? From my previous students who have been with me, what is personification in a story?
Concept in the rhetorical way, right, is used to give human characteristics.
Exactly. To give human characteristics. So that means that when you say the clock is calling me, the clock cannot call you because the clock is not human. Does that make sense?
Correct.
So personification is when you are giving something a thing, like the sun is my friend. The sun is not your friend because the sun is not, it's only a sun, right? So on this one, I'm going to open my whiteboard so we could kind of talk about it. I'm going to open my whiteboard here. So which of these phrases gives personification? Which of these phrases give personification? The lightning rod standing guard, dismiss the automobile as a passing fancy, string power lines up in the house, ideas of human traveling into outer space. Which one of these, you don't even need to read the story, you guys, unless you want to, but in the real GD, personification means that you're giving something human characteristics. Which one did you guys guess? A, B, C, or D?
A.
A. The answer is A. Unless you want to go find it. Where was it, you guys? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and find it. Personification. Okay. And let me, oh no, not personification. I'm going to say lightning rod. Sorry, excuse me. Let me go ahead and find rod or rods. I'm going to go previous. I don't even think it's here. Is it anywhere here? I don't think it's even here. Is this from the story? Let me see.
I don't think so, teacher.
I don't think it's from the story. I think it's out of the blue, a question that's out of the blue. It's not from, okay, lightning. Now I'm curious. I think it is from the story, but from a different part of the story. Oh, there you go.
Lightning.
My uncle Wilbur used to spend hours every day checking on lightning rods that stood guard. So lightning rods. Okay, so this might be the complication because maybe it's more the English that you don't understand. Okay, it's not the story per se, it's more the vocabulary. Do you know what is lightning rods? Do you know what is a lightning rod? Yes, no, maybe so.
Thunder?
Exactly, for thunder. It is what a lot of people use, okay, especially the scientists, what they use to supervise the lightning. So let me show you. Here it is. This is a lightning rod. So these rods on the top, they catch lightning. Usually they stand on the top of a building so they don't hit the building. They're used in a lot of places where they have a lot of lightning. Is anybody from a town that has a lot of this? I know in Latin America, there's a lot of lightning rods.
Oh, teacher, when I was a children,
A child?
yeah, a child like between 8 and 11, and the corner of my house was one of those.
Yes.
And I'm scared until right now to the lightings for that.
Because they hit the building, right? They hit it. So
Correct.
So a lightning rod is basically a guard. They're guarding your house. So here the answer will be A, like Mujidat said, a lightning rod standing. The rods cannot stand, they're standing, but they're not guards. This is the personification. So in the imagination of a child or the imagination of any person, it could be that you're giving the lightning rods like if they're person. So for Miss Bricia, you could imagine that the lightning guards and when you were a child were monsters, right? They were your monsters, right? They're like monsters. So that is called personification.
Correct.
Okay. Animalation is very similar, you guys, just in case you ever get personification or animalation. Animalation is when you give something an animal characteristic. For example, I could say something like the alarm barks at me every morning. See? And the alarm is not barking. The alarm is just, making sounds, but this will be called animalation. Okay, so personification is for the person. Okay, so I could do the same thing. The alarm is talking to me. See? So this will be personification, and this will be animalation. The alarm is talking to me. Okay, just in case. And if you notice, you guys, we still don't need to read the whole thing. So if you read the whole story, you wasted time, very respectfully. It's a practice. Okay. Next one. How would Uncle Wilbur feel about cellular phones? Okay. What if he's telling you that he predicted the crash of 1929? Uncle Wilbur is very old, right? He is very, very, very old. So this one you do have to read because is Wilbur is see, be careful, you guys, because we could say something like really fast. Uncle Wilbur would not like, cell phones because he's old. That is a generalization. Okay, so be very careful with generalization until you know the person. I have met, you guys, I have met many, many older adults, older senior citizens, 80, 90, 100 years, well, 98 years old, and they love technology. So be very careful that on this one, right away, you're going to say, oh, he's going to be fearful, distressful, welcome, right away, you're going to say, he's not going to like it. Be very careful because for a reason, this story is called Uncle Wilbur. So then you go back and you double check to see if indeed your prediction is correct. Uncle Wilbur did not take kindly to the power company man who came knocking one day in 1936. This was the year the government launched a campaign to bring electricity to rural areas like ours. Many people, like Uncle Wilbur, were a little worried of having electricity in their homes. Many of us had running water and we just weren't sure that the two mixed. Nevertheless, Uncle Wilbur was downright floored when the man said he wanted to string lines up on the house. Nearly losing his temper, Uncle Wilbur explained, here I am doing everything in my power to keep from getting struck by lightning, and you want to bring it right to my doorstep? So he doesn't like it. He sent the man on his way with a no thank you and goodbye, sir. Okay, so right here, he doesn't like technology.
Mhm.
Many things have changed since those times. See, now we have to make sure we confirm. Uncle Wilbur still lives in a mortal fear of lightning, so still lives in a mortal fear of lightning strike. But because he doesn't get out much anymore, most of his lightning rods have rusted through the fallen and fallen to the ground. Uncle Wilbur lives mostly in Social Security. And now, you guys, you have an idea that he still hasn't progressed. So you have confirmed, but you guys confirm your answer. So is it going to be welcoming? No. Is it going to, now you have to decide because guess what? Fearful, distrustful, and indifferent are all similar
Mhm.
words. Ay, ay, ay. So now this is the moment that you really have to slow down and think like, okay, so which one would fit Uncle Wilbur? Okay, so
I say indifferent.
so we chose indifferent. Okay, so we have 1D. Okay. Anybody else? I could also say fearful, you guys, or distrustful. All of these are him. So which one do you think it is? Fearful, distrustful, or indifferent? How did he feel about electricity?
Beautiful.
Mhm.
He was fearful, okay? And then he said, I must admit playing checks with the, okay, so he says, I must admit playing checkers in the dark is a talent you can easily lose without daily practice. Okay. This was in 1936.
Mhm.
Okay. And if he's still fearful, okay, he's very fearful, but is he living in fear or is he living in distrust? Ay, ay, ay. So it's not indifferent now. So the answer is not indifferent. So now you're in between these two. Is he fearful or distrustful? Think about it, you guys, because let's imagine that this is written. Let's give this a year. Let's imagine this is 1990, for example, and he's 90 years old. Is he fearful or distrustful?
Fearful.
Okay.
Miss Rosie.
So we'll go with fearful with A. The
Yeah.
answer is B, you guys.
Mm.
He's not fearful. He doesn't live in fear. He lives in distrust. There's a difference. There's a difference, you guys. There's a big difference. I'm going to use an example of 2021. This is very respectful to everybody. Okay. So this is my disclosure. I'm trying to be respectful, but there's a difference, you guys. About vaccines. Are you fearful or are you distrustful? How do you feel right now with the vaccine? And even before, you know, a lot of us, including me, I already got mine, but many people, are they in fear or they distrust?
Distrust.
Exactly. Fear, you guys, is literally fear, shaking, being fear, not being able to sleep. Be very careful because in 2021, we generalize big words, and the word fear is fear, you guys. Fear. Like you're scared and you're shaking and you cannot sleep because you have fear. There's a difference between the word distrustful. Yes, distrustful is very similar to fear, but it's a little bit less. So if you're thinking of anything, let's think of, for example, what is something that we fear? You know, earthquakes. Are you fearful or distrustful?
Fearful.
Okay, perfect. Let's think about, for example, a stranger following you. A stranger. Why am I stranger? There you go. Stranger following you. Will you be fearful or distrustful?
Fearful.
Distrustful.
Okay.
Fearful.
It depends. It depends on you know, you probably be fearful and distrustful. If you're brave, then you'd be distrustful. If you're like alone in the dark, a train following you in, you know, in the middle of the night, then you'd be, you know, fearful. You know, how about if I say this? Let's see about the GD. Fearful or distrustful?
Fearful.
Fearful, right? And some of you are like distrustful because you don't trust yourself. Do you see? There's a difference, you guys. So in this situation, you know, I understand you say fearful, but you guys, remember what it says here. Many things have changed. He has no choice. We have cell phones and he doesn't fear them. He's just not going to be trusting them. Many people still don't want to trust the internet in their home. They still think that they're, you know, they're going to be following you in everything, and they're going to be, you know, hacking into your life. It's distrustful. So this is one of those. And do you notice that it has nothing to do with the story so much? It has to do with your interpretation, you as a person. Okay. Compared to Uncle Wilbur, how does the narrator feel towards the modern advancement? Okay, we're talking about the person talking. So here he says, my uncle, my uncle. So the narrator is the nephew. How does the nephew feel about technology? This is an inference from the story. Now you might have to read and skim and scan the story, you know, but what do you predict? What do you understand about this nephew? Is he like Uncle? Is he the same way as Uncle Wilbur?
B, accepting.
No, B.
Okay, so D, oh B, accepting. I said B. Okay, D, accelerated. B as in boy, you guys, or D as in David? Because I know I can't hear sometimes when what
B.
B as in boy. Okay. Okay, so I like B. Is he resisting? No. Is he uncertain? No. Is he like totally excited? Not. No. That's too exaggerating. So yes, the only option will be B. That's the only option, that he's more accepting. You know, he's more accepting. And like I said, we gave a year. We don't have the exact year, but we have an idea that this gentleman, the uncle, is kind of be like my uncle, you know, he's more accepting. He accepts technology. Okay. So did everybody get all of them right? Yay. No? How'd you guys feel with these? Anybody? Did you get 3 out of 4? 4 out of 3? How many did you get right?
Personification, I was kind of like,
Almost, Linda? Almost got them all?
no, number 2 is the one who gave me, because I didn't know which personification was.
Okay. And now do you understand personification? Are you better with it now?
A little bit.
Personification is, okay, so we use personification a lot in our days. It's like if I say, coffee is my best friend. I always say that, you guys. Coffee is not my best friend because coffee is not a person. This is called personification. What is personification? Giving an item characteristics of human life or a person. So a lot of people will say, well, it is. No, you guys, it's poetry, it's literature, it's an art. So personification is basically literature, it's an art. Okay, so in this situation, personification will be giving the coffee the personification of human life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that is personification. We also say something like, in Spanish is very common, not only in Spanish, you guys, in Latin poetry, Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, they give a lot of personification, and because they'll say something like, let me think of one. Oh, I just had it and it totally went away. But there's, the sun. The sun is the blanket. Okay. So even though here it's not personification, it's still an analogy. So here, this is an analogy and this is a personification. This is an analogy, or we call it a metaphor. A metaphor, which the sun is the blanket. The sun is not the blanket, you guys. The sun is just a planet or a star. The sun is a star, so it cannot be a blanket. So this is called a metaphor, and this is called, it's also a metaphor, you guys, but it's a metaphor that because it's giving it like a people, it equals a personification. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so let's go to the next one, okay? Which reason explains what the author wrote about Uncle Wilbur? Why do you think the author, so this is more of your general idea, why do you think the author wrote about his uncle? Why did he create the story about his uncle? Why do you think he created the story about his uncle? So, what do you guys think? If you got the answer already from the bottom, it's okay, but just let me know what do you think before you tell me the answer. What did you guys think?
To remember?
Okay, to
C.
remember him. Okay. So I have C, I have B. What else? Anybody else?
D, Miss Rosie.
D, it could also be D, to remember him.
No,
Okay. B, to pacify him. Okay, to give him peace. Okay. So to explain him, to explain to who? This is a story. So to explain him, no, because this is not talking about, I'm going to explain to you my uncle. No. To pacify him, to give him peace. I don't know, you guys, because this doesn't sound like a story of death. Right? Unless we know this is a funeral, but we don't know this is a funeral, right? This is just a story. So we don't know this is a funeral. So if we don't know this is a funeral, it cannot be to pacify him. Okay? It might be just a story to tell his kids. And if it's telling his kids, the best one will be to remember him. To pacify him and to remember him are very close. But to pacify means to calm him or to calm somebody. So I don't think, like a pacifier. So I don't think it will be B, even though I understand maybe why, but the answer is C. Does that make sense, you guys? Do you guys does anybody have a story of a family that you like to tell your friends or your kids? You know, you always say something like my uncle this, my uncle, you know, you tell stories, and that will be to remember them. That's the reason that they do this, to remember them. Okay. Is that clear, Vero? Why it's not pacify?
Yeah, Miss Rosie, I was
Okay.
confused on the word.
Yeah, pacify comes from the word like pacificar, like
Mhm.
pacificate, you know, like to calm down. And unless he's like, maybe if you're telling your baby, like, you know, the three little pigs, then that will be pacify. Uh-oh, what happened to my computer? Give me 1 second, you guys. I think my camera turned off, you guys. I apologize. My camera's acting weird. I might need to buy a new one. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Which pair of words best describes how the narrator most likely feels about Uncle Wilbur? So how does the narrator feel about Uncle Wilbur? Now you have to be careful, you guys, because you have to look at the synonyms. Okay, so this is the moment that you might have to read the story to get the feeling. Okay, so you could say, you know, I'm going to read it a little bit fast, and I'm going to underline the words. Okay, to underline the words that, you know, that refer to this. Okay, so I'm going to say, my Uncle Wilbur used to spend hours every day checking on the lightning rods that stood guard on the roof of his house. We got a lot of storms here in the States. Sometimes we see wind 60 miles per hour and baseball-sized hail. Uncle Wilbur would say, it's a living thing, and I like a cat. And like a cat, I will strike anything that moves. You better not tempt me, he always told us. He advised my cousins and me to always be mindful of the nearest sheltering tree. He said he should be prepared to drop to the ground like a hot potato. See, so he's talking like, and the first sound of thunder, knowing that lightning is attracted to the tallest thing around. Uncle Wilbur worried constantly about my cousin Jared, who at 16 was 6'2" and still growing. So I don't know about you guys, but do you notice that Uncle Wilbur seems like the kids like him? They seem like they like him because they're around him. And look what he says, right? Uncle Wilbur worried constantly about my cousin Jared. So he is a loving uncle, you guys. And because the uncle is not the dad. The uncle is not a grandpa. The uncle is just an uncle. And if he's worried about his nephews, then he is a loving or a caring, I'm gonna put a heart here. He's a caring uncle. Uncle Wilbur has always been a smart man. Look, respectful, loving and respectful. You could keep reading if you want, but I think I have enough to do my prediction. Okay, so if this is a story, is the narrator annoyed and frustrated? No. Is he respectful and amused? Maybe. Is he sad and different? No. Is he envious and distrustful? No. Then the only answer that makes sense is respectful and amused. Amused means funny. It's funny, you guys. He's like, yeah, my uncle never wanted to have technology. My uncle told everybody to go away from electricity. It's funny, you guys. It is funny because could you imagine right here? Sir, we're going to put electricity in your house. What? You're going to put electricity in my house? Good day, sir. No, thank you. Goodbye. This is funny, you guys. This is amusing, right? Because, you know, the kids are, you know, could you imagine telling that to your children? You know, your great uncle used to say goodbye to electricity. And look what he says right here. I don't know if you guys saw that one. When he says, playing checkers in the dark is a talent. Do you guys understand checkers?
Yes, it's a big deal.
That is funny, you guys. How could you play checkers in the dark
You not see.
if you don't? Exactly. It's like playing chess. How could you play checkers in the dark, you guys? Could you imagine playing checkers, playing this game in the dark?
It's funny.
And look what he says. It's a talent. No, it's an art. So this is funny. So the answer will be, you know, where is it? respectful, and amused. From his perspective, from the point of view, from the, what best describes the passage? This one's hard, you guys. This is hard in the GD because in the GD, like I said, you have to understand the words. So is it a character sketch? It's a factual research, a persuasive essay, or a news article? Okay, so this might be the word that is going to confuse you. That's why it's important to read a lot and expand your vocabulary. What is a sketch, you guys? A sketch will be a something like, I'm gonna say sketch, just like that. This is a sketch. A sketch is when it's not a painting. A sketch is when you do it little by little. So a sketch, I'm gonna say sketch of a flower, for example, or a girl, it will be just a sketch, little by little. Well, if you ever seen sketching, okay, if you ever seen sketching, the artist starts little by little. First, they give you the circle and then the eye, and little by little, the sketch starts. Well, guess what? In this story, little by little, they tell you about Mr. Uncle Wilbur. See, little by little by little. So the answer here will be a character sketch. Did anybody get this one right? It's hard.
No.
Yeah, but do you see why now? Which one did you get, Linda? What did you get?
I put the
Persuasive essay. And I understand why, but keep in mind that this is not an essay. This is a story.
Mhm.
Okay, so right away you could eliminate. Okay, you could eliminate. And the real GD eliminate. Okay, persuasive? No, they're not trying to persuade. A news article? No, it's not a news article. If
I get rid of the B because it wasn't a research.
it's not research. So I get these two, but remember the name is the character. And what is the name of the story? Uncle, So it will give you the sketch, the character sketch. And then I understand why, because this is a new word right here. So we might not know that one, but now you guys know a little bit more. So make sure that you remember this word, okay? Because like I said, the GD is going to trick you. They might ask you questions like this, and either way, you guys eliminate, okay? Everybody's doing good? 100%? Little by little, you guys, little by little, we will get 100%, okay? Okay, are you ready to go to the next one? Yes, we still have 15 minutes. Everybody's okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, so let's go back to the steps. What's the first thing that I need to do? You guys, what's the first thing that I said if I'm going to be reading this? What is the first thing I do?
Go to the questions.
Read the title.
Oh,
After read the title, Linda, it's awesome. It's true though. Okay, so the first thing is read the title and the happiness effect. And then think about it. Make a prediction. Is this a persuade? Is this like to entertain? We go back to our Nearpod. Is this to entertain, persuade, or inform? And this one's hard, you guys, because this one's thinking the happiness effect. This sounds like a science project. So maybe this is about inform. This is to inform. Okay. So maybe to inform, maybe to persuade. When I inform, I persuade. So either one. The second step is I look for years. I don't have a year. Okay. We don't know what year this is. So we're going to just say this is 2021 or recent. So we don't have a year. Then we go to the questions, the happiness effect. Okay. Then we go to the questions. And here it's going to say in the section, why be happy? Okay, why does the author include parentheses around and a social conscience? Okay, so parentheses about a social conscience. The next one, what change occurs as a result of adding the prefix un, okay, or to fortunate, unfortunate. I know this one. And maybe if you know this, when you're like, oh, I think I know it, you could make a prediction, or you could just go to the next one. Which statement summarizes the heading? What causes happiness? Okay, a little help from my friends. Okay, and then the assumptions, generalization. Okay, misery may love company. Okay, why does the author use the phrase misery may love company? Well, guess what, you guys? I started to get a feeling that this is about a, a informative. This is about information about the effect of being happy. So maybe it's to persuade you to try to be happy, or maybe it's to inform you of how to be happy. Either one, it's not a story. This is not a story. Okay. So now we have an idea. We're going to go ahead and answer the questions. And in the section, why be happy? Why does the author include parentheses around in a social conscience? Okay. Why be happy? So I'm going to go ahead, and because why be happy is right here, right? It's the second paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning. Happiness may be the primary goal of human existence. Philosophers have wrestled with the concept of happiness. Legislators create laws to support citizens' right to pursue happiness. Television, radio, and print advertisers assume consumers that various products will guarantee happiness. Interestingly, people have a tendency to believe they are happier than their neighbors, and they are optimistic about their happiness in the future. Most people assume that they will be happier a decade from now than they are today. Clearly, everyone from writers to philosophers to legislators and the average person on the street think a great deal about happiness. What makes happiness so important to human existence? So right away, you guys, I got my idea. This is an informative. And now it's going to tell you here, why be happy? Not only does happiness feel good, but it appears to provide a variety of psychological and physical benefits. Happiness plays a significant role in enhancing good health, strengthening the human system, promoting longevity, improving productivity and performance, and increasing resilience. Happy people work hard, play hard, have an active social life, a social conscience. Look, in parentheses after this word. After this word, they give you this one. After this one, they give you this one. So now, which one will be the answer here? Which one do you think means social conscience right after social life?
A, teacher?
So we have A, okay, we have one A. To point out that social conscience leads to good health. So maybe I like this one. Anybody else? I'm giving you the answer until the end. I wanna make sure everybody participates. Anybody else? Anybody choose B, C, or D? Everybody choose C? Anybody?
E.
B? B as in boy?
I choose C.
You choose C? Okay. So look, let's think about this. Okay, let's go back. So here it says, have an active social life. Have an active social life. Okay. I think this story helps us a lot right now in 2021. Okay, because in 2021, we couldn't have an active social life, could we? It was hard to have an active social life because we are at home. But is social the same thing as face to face?
No.
Not ever, you right. So what is social? How do you become social? Well, you could call somebody, you could text nowadays, you could write, you could chat, right? This is social, that you call, text, write, chat, telegraph, whatever we used to do before the phone call. Think about back in the days, I remember writing to my grandma letters. But what is one thing about being social, you guys? Subconsciously, what is the first step to becoming social?
To interact with other people?
Yes, to interact, but that is how you do it. But what is the choice that you have to do? You have to do it. If you don't call, nobody's gonna call you. You call. Isn't it true? You text.
You are there?
You write. It's your decision. You chat. And you write the telegraph. Does that make sense? It's you take the initiative. You are the responsible one for being social. Nobody's going to be social with you. It's think of children. Children are so social because they don't care who they talk to. They go and they say, hi, you want to play? They don't care. They do it. And that's why they have to be aware. They have to have a conscience to do it. So here, and a social conscience, to point out that social conscience leads to good health, you guys, this one doesn't tell you that you have to do it. To emphasize the importance of playing and working hard, maybe B. B is better than A at the moment. To point out that having a social conscience can promote longevity. To point out that having, okay, the maybe, see, all of them are really good. To emphasize the importance of social conscience as a part of active, see, the importance of social conscience. To emphasize, that's what I'm doing right now. To emphasize the importance of social conscience as a part of an active social life. This will be the answer D.
Yeah.
Without you doing it, then you cannot blame other people. You are the one doing it. To emphasize the importance of social conscience. I have a lot of friends, you guys. It's been 1 year. Remember, now it's 13 months since we've been on lockdown.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the pandemic, I had a lot of friends who got depressed. And I mean a lot. I don't mean just a few. I mean a lot of friends and uncles and aunties and a lot of people that I know. And the first thing I would tell them, listen to this, okay? I would tell him, let's Zoom. Let's Zoom. Let's meet on Zoom or on Skype, on chats, on anything, on FaceTime, on Facebook. Oh, I don't like that. Okay. Okay, call me. I have nothing to talk to you. Okay. Let's meet at the park outside. Oh, I don't like the sun. And I'm like, okay, that's why you're getting depressed. Not because the COVID is making you depressed, but because you are not making a social conscience. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's basically what it's talking about here, making a social conscience. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense a little bit more. I apologize because my doorbell rang. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Or you know what? Or let's review this one. Is everybody okay with this one? Number 8, why it's D? Everybody's okay? Yes? I don't want to
Yes, for me, teacher.
Okay, awesome. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to number 9. Okay. This one is kind of easy because it's unfortunate. Unfortunate. You could go back and read it if you want to find what the word unfortunate is. But do you understand that when something is unfortunate, what would it mean? Fortunate means happy, and unfortunate means sad. A, B, C, or D? Anybody? What changes occur as a result of adding the word I'm happy, and now I am unhappy.
Letter C.
B, teacher.
Yep, the letter is C. The word becomes the opposite. That's it, you guys. See how easy? And believe me, the Cheaty has a couple of these. It has a couple of these crazy ones that they look hard, and you're like, that's it. That's it. That is pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay. How about number 10? Let's look at number 10.
Letter D.
Letter D. Okay. So which statement summarizes the heading, what causes happiness? Both short, a long-term happiness are caused by variety experiences. Scientists conclude laughing at funny jokes, avoid social network. So we have one D. We have one person that says D. Anybody else? Yes, no, maybe so.
A.
It could be A, maybe. Okay. So which statement summarizes the heading, the main idea, you guys? Like the main, like you're thinking of the summary. So here they're telling you, look at this. Here they're telling you why you should be happy. What happens when it's the opposite of happy? What causes happiness? What, with the help from friends, okay? And then they tell you, why am I here? If you're going to be living, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, why are you here? The habit of happiness. A habit means long time. The habit is a habit, like you do it every day, a habit. So this one, you guys, it kind of gives you the clue. Where is it? Did I skip one? Right here. This one, it will kind of tell you that the answer will be both short and long-term happiness are caused by a variety of experiences. Because look, we go back to the question or to the reading. It tells you about friends. Is it easy to make friends, you guys? Friends come and go. But the point is, it's throughout life. So factors of friends is that you have to live a life in order to have friends. So friends is for a long time. Why am I here? Well, you start to think about why am I here when you're like 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. And a habit, it also takes a long time to make hobbies, to have activities. So this is long and short events. And that is your clue that the answer for this one will be to emphasize the long and short term experience. Both short and long-term happiness are caused by a variety of experiences. The answer for this one is D. I see why we could put A, because A and D are almost very similar, but D gives you the actual summary. Does that make sense? They're not asking,
Yes.
They're not asking what is the main idea. They're asking what statement summarizes. A summary is a bit longer than a main idea. Okay, you guys, so it's 12:20. Okay, and I only got to a half of it. Okay, so now your homework is to finish checking your answers. You have a couple, we are finished. Okay, so finish checking your answers, but I think I gave you another one. Oh, I didn't put it on. Okay, so I didn't put it on, but for tomorrow, I'm going to give you another practice very similar to this one. So for tomorrow, you guys, make sure that you're continuing practicing on your, oh, there it is. I apologize. Continue practicing your vocabulary. First and foremost, always practice a vocabulary. I need to put this there. So let me go ahead and copy this. Please make sure that you practice your vocabulary. Remember that vocabulary is your number one weakness. You need to make it a muscle. So the more vocabulary that you practice, the easier it will be for you. So please continue practicing your vocabulary and also continue working on the stories from the workbook. I haven't covered them, but I still want you to continue. Don't stop on page 125. The more that you do, you guys, the better. This is the book that it has to do a lot with, similar to the real GD. So continue practicing on these as much as possible, okay? I'll check it probably on Wednesday. Tomorrow we're gonna do a practice test, another one. And then also continue working on your vocabulary, okay? It's extremely important to work on your vocabulary because if you don't enhance your vocabulary, the GD is not the fact that it's difficult, you guys, it's the fact that you're not gonna be able to understand it, okay? So remember to continue doing that, okay? Don't forget to take your attendance, please. I'll go ahead and put it on the chat box. Let me go ahead and put the attendance on the chat box so everybody could take it right here. And then hopefully by today at around 2 o'clock, I'll put the recording on the website. And that's it, you guys.